All right, guys, let's talk interest rates today. As you can see below, interest rates are predicted to drop. I know this is usually everyone's biggest concern when they're shopping for a house is the interest rate, and it's always something it seems like some people can't get past, and some people just want to stay put or continue renting. Not that everybody should be buying. There are plenty of reasons somebody should rent other than buy. I know you'll never hear a realtor say that, but there are plenty of reasons somebody should stick to renting. But for right now, let's stick to interest rates and let's talk about this. All right. Obviously, since I'm a real estate agent, I am constantly hearing about the predictions and the projection of where mortgage rates are going to be in the next month or two, and when they're going to start creeping down, and this and that. But the reality of it is that nobody knows. Nobody can tell you for sure what the interest rate will be in April of 2026. So I know we're always seeing news articles and we're always seeing different posts and people talking about how rates are going to keep creeping down, and hopefully they do keep creeping down. We've seen, if you look at the progression, we have seen that, or I should say, degression of interest rates coming down. You'll see that they have been steadily creeping down, but that doesn't promise us anything. That doesn't mean that in March of 2026 interest rates are going to be at 5.5%. Hopefully they are. That would be a great thing. But I always tell everybody, you have to date the rate, marry the house. If you're looking to buy, or you've been looking to buy and you've held off because of interest rates, and you've passed up multiple houses you fell in love with, maybe it's time to look past the interest rate. And one thing I always tell people is, even when rates do come down, the prices of housing is going to go up. So there's never a complete win-win situation where you're going to get a crazy low rate and you're going to get the house for a crazy good deal. You might be waiting a lifetime. You might never buy a house if that's what you're waiting on. So that's just one reason that you might want to get into the market again and start looking if you've been wanting to buy a house. Okay, so as we can see with this next statistic, is that homeowners were surveyed, and 51% of them are still saying that they would not buy a house, even if interest rates were to come down. I think this has a lot to do with the news articles and the posts about people saying interest rates will be down to 5.5% or 5% by 2026, which puts this idea in everybody's head that they should just stay put, wait until the rates come down. They want to get the best rate for themselves, so they're better off not buying a house right now. And this brings me to my point that I always say, you date the rate, you marry the house. So you don't want to wait. You don't want to miss out on something you love just because the interest rate's a little bit higher than you think it's supposed to be in the next 6 months. And like I said, we have no idea what it's going to be. So date the rate, marry the house. Okay, my final point and takeaway from all this is that people are comparing their interest rates to things that were happening in 2020 and during the pandemic, and that's what's making them think interest rates are so high right now. And obviously, when you compare a 6.5% interest rate to a 3% interest rate, or I've seen as low as 2.6, yeah, it's gonna feel like you have a horrible rate. But what we can't forget is during this time, people were paying huge appraisal caps and walking into negative equity, and paying way more than a house was worth without even seeing it in person first, just so they could get a house. This was a crazy period of time, and I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this mindset that everybody who has a 3% interest rate should just sit on it forever and never move. And I mean, I've ran into that with some clients before, people that had interest rates below 3% that need more space and have grown their families and need a bigger house, but nobody wants to move because they don't want to come off this interest rate. So, I mean, I definitely understand it, and I get where people are coming from, but we have to realize, and like I said before, nobody knows what's going to happen, but I highly doubt that we'll see any interest rate below 3% anytime soon. So, I mean, if you're somebody, like I said, waiting for a perfect situation, waiting for an interest rate of around 3 or 4%, you might be waiting a while. And if you need a home, you need a home. So, like I said before, and I'll keep saying it, you date the rate, you marry the house. Don't let somebody with a 3% interest rate discourage you from buying a house at a 6% interest rate, because that's just what it is right now. And like I said before, and I'll keep saying it, we have no idea what's going to happen with the rates. Um, for all we know, rates could go back up, and that's just the reality of it. And it sucks, but that's just the reality. So my biggest point of this whole video was, interest rates aren't the end of the world. I know they're a major concern. They should be a major concern. Obviously, don't go out and buy something with a 10% interest rate. I see people financing cars for 25% interest rate. That's just crazy to me. But To each his own. So I just want to come on here and post a little video for you guys and talk about these rates and what I think about them. And I appreciate you guys listening. Thanks.